Hello, and your voice does matter, and welcome back to Brighton Hove Community Radio. You might have realised that we did have a break last week, and we had a repeat, but not for long. We have now, welcome back, Jenny Ventress.
Hello.
Hello, and you'll have to crawl a little bit nearer to the microphone.
Oh, sorry, a bit far away.
And we also have a wonderful guest, and she's full of life and love and bubbles, I think, at the moment, because of probably our theme, successes and disappointment. But I suspect she's like this all the time. And it's Georgina, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, well, welcome to the show, Georgina. We have a wonderful success story from you, which we're going to hear later. We're not going to hear it straight away. And also, we're also going to work on disappointments as well. And the reason being is because our theme this week is disappointments and successes, or success and disappointments. I wasn't quite sure which order to put it in. What do you think, Jenny?
Always on the positive. Success.
So you have success first or success second, because if we started with disappointment and then success.
Yeah, okay. End on a good note. Yeah, you're right.
So what do you think? So we'll end on a good note. All right, so we promised to end on a good note, we hope. We shouldn't really promise, should we?
No.
But we will. So what have you been up to in the last 2 weeks, Jenny?
Guiding my lovely daughter through, and my other daughter through all these exams, and mainly cooking good food, keeping the old vitamins up, and making sure they're eating properly. That's the only thing you can do, really. Just keep them going.
That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, well, they don't really kind of listen to you in other ways. Just keep feeding them. Georgina says that I'm a food pusher, which is not true. I just think that healthy mind, healthy body, whichever order you want to put that in. Yeah.
And talking of healthy mind and healthy body, I feel like my body's a lot healthier this week because I have been away to the Bath Folk Festival.
Oh, yeah.
And that was fantastic. I'll tell you a little bit about that. We are going to have a couple of artistes from there. But I'm going to give this to Jenny in a minute. And it's the Bath Festival, Folk Festival programme. Well, one thing I did do, and I think it's quite healthy, is I lived on the field for a week with one horse, no drinking water, a toilet, of course, but I had to go down to Bath Spa to have a spa, so I was forced to be healthy, and I loved it. And also going down was like 25 minutes walk. So every morning, before I would do my volunteer job, I walked for 25 minutes and then earned a cup of tea.
What about the horse? Where is this coming?
The horse was it was a farmer's field.
Oh, right. So
it was
getting on horseback.
It was supposed to be the crew field, but it ended up like 2 tents, and it was very creepy at night. the first night, I got dropped off, and Marie, she was a beautiful lady, did all the cooking in the social centre there, and she dropped me off, and she said, "Is it here?" I said, "I don't know." And so we checked the address, and it was, and then she said, "Right, I'm leaving you, are you going to be okay?" And I was like, with a little torch in a field, dark field.
Oh,
but that's kept me up all night.
Oh, really?
They were great. Yeah, it was brilliant. To Your Voice Matters, it's Brighton Hove Community Radio in syndication with Green Futures Festival Radio, and we're here to work together to provide education, training and social game for the community. And we've got a wonderful guest today, because our theme today is success and disappointments. I would like, and I'm honoured, to invite Georgina to talk about, I presume it's a success. I hope it's a success. Tell me about yourself, Georgina.
Hi, I'm Georgina. I'm 18 and I've been studying at Baswick doing my A-levels for the past 2 years. And
which A-levels?
Geography, biology and the dreaded mathematics. And I took Spanish and critical thinking at AS level last year. So, yeah. And I joined I think it was, they said, 350,000 people last year, yesterday, who was waiting in a heavy anticipation for their results. And so yes, and thankfully it was a success yesterday, and
Yay!
not a disappointment.
Tell us your success. What did you get?
I got an A star in geography and 2 A's in biology and maths, and an A star in my extended project. So,
what was your extended project?
That was a project I did alongside my geography A-level course, which was supposed to be about a 5,000 word project on something to do with geography that I enjoyed, which turned into a 15,000 word dissertation on the history of the Western Balkans. So, yes, so I was pretty glad I got an A star for that after the hours of work that went into that piece. But yes.
So you've already done your dissertation then, really?
Yeah.
For university.
Swap around a bit.
Yeah,
and
just
use it again.
change some words, change some dates, and I'll be away. Yeah.
And which university are you going to?
I have received a place at the University of Cambridge to study geography.
How did you get into Cambridge? Come on, how did you get into Cambridge? You pointed it on a map with one of those dowsing rods. No, it must have been because you got A stars, mustn't it?
Yeah, yes. But
what did you need for Cambridge?
I needed Cambridge as just started using the A star because it's a new grade at A level. For I think pretty much all the courses at Cambridge, you have to get an A star and 2 A's at A level. That's the basic requirement. Sometimes they ask for more and sometimes they ask for less. But yeah, I need an A star and 2 A's. That was on top of having to go through the application and interview process earlier last year. So it was quite lengthy.
As you just tell them about this interview, was like that was really touch and go because it was the one time we had loads of snow. And we couldn't, wasn't it? We couldn't get you there.
It was the
December
2nd of December, I think, and it was the day the snow began to fall down quite heavily. And I got put on the last train leaving Shoreham, and then my dad put me on the last train leaving to London. I felt like I was escaping from behind the Iron Curtain or something, being shoved on these trains. And I went up the night before because we were worried I wouldn't be able to make it otherwise. But yes, so I had to stay in this lovely room with this massive television and all this stuff.
Isn't that a shame?
I know, it really was, and got free food the next day.
And it was all wood, don't tell me.
And a bath. It was
historical.
It was very hard for me to have to
So
do that.
you're going to have to come back on the programme and tell us how the other half live in Cambridge, aren't you?
Yes, I got a letter this morning telling me I need to order a gown. So it's definitely halfway
isn't
through
it?
the looking glass already. So.
Do you know, when I passed my degree, I couldn't actually afford a gown to go for, the thing. And they said you can hire them, and I couldn't even afford that. So I didn't bother going, but I should have really. I think my mother would have been proud anyway that I got a degree. Similar, you go on a journey, don't you? Yeah. And it's part of a journey.
But it was a good thing you did get to that interview on time, wasn't it? Because one of the interviewers was from the Antarctic, or
there's one of my interviewers, Dr. Michael Bravo, works for the Scott Polar Research Institute. So I don't think I could have used a little bit of snow on the line as an excuse. So
not getting there.
Oh, do you know, Georgina?
So that was like
Georgina, I'll tell you another little. This was a disappointing story for me. When I was doing what was called O levels, which was GCSEs in my day, I wasn't bad at geography. And I wanted to follow a similar path to you, and I got to my exam and did my exam, and when I came out of the exam, I looked at a piece of paper I had, and realised I had handed in the question paper instead of my map question, and I couldn't go back and hand it in. So I just failed my GCSE, and I was so disappointed I wouldn't go in for it again.
That is always the worst thing. All of my friends have been saying throughout the exams since we've been doing GCSEs is that half of the challenge is being able to do the exam properly, let alone learning all this stuff you have to put in it. Because we get sat down and literally run through the procedure every single time, but still you worry that you're not using black ink, you can't write your name properly, and that you missed the question on the back.
You turn 2 pages over and you've missed a whole thing. You think you've finished. Oh my God!
That's the sort of thing that I did. So I only got diagnosed with dyslexia when I was 50, so I went through all my exams struggling like that. But do they still study about Swanage?
Oh, yeah, and you see, I think Swanage was something that I missed out on.
2 years ago.
Yeah, all my friends did Swanage and went on the trip to Swanage, but, and they started doing it when I left school, but I didn't do Swanage. We looked at lots of pictures of it, though, and because the best Britain has geologically to offer is Swanage, but I did miss out on that a bit. So.
Well, I think geologically, I think Dorset, so I study ancient sites and stuff like that, and I love doing that. And, I went a lot to Dorset to study all the ancient sites there, and there's some fascinating sites in Dorset. So Swanage, I mean, it's a privilege to go to Swanage, but I didn't go, again, like you, I didn't go on my field trip. I actually went in my mind, and it was only later on when I actually went down to Swanage, thought, oh, that's Swanage.
It does exist beyond the textbooks.
So you had a story to tell us about one of your friends, didn't you?
Yes, it was the ultimate disappointment, success kind of story from yesterday, I think. As most people who got results yesterday would know, the UCAS online system was pretty bad. The servers crashed and people couldn't access onto it, so that was a hurdle for most people. But my friend yesterday, it was her birthday as well, to add extra anxiety, and she went into college and received her results and realised that she only got a D and 2 E's, which was not what she needed for university. She needed to get 2 C's and a D to do her course in biomedical science, but she didn't panic. She sat down, grabbed the phone and started phoning around universities, and they, in the end, managed to blag a better place at a better university, which required BBC, even though she had a D and 2 E's. And so now we'll be going to Staffordshire Uni to do biomedical science instead of where she was going to go to before. So she started off very disappointed yesterday and ended on a high.
Well, that's because I told them it was her birthday. So, people don't like being disappointed on their birthdays.
But yes, so that was a good. She didn't panic, and she just went through the procedure calmly, and so managed to get.
That's wonderful, and happy birthday, Becky.
Yes, I was going to say the same. So we all wish you a universal happy birthday. Ah, that's nice and relaxing, wasn't it? Did you like that?
Yes.
Going Back by Dusty Springfield.
Yeah.
That was wonderful. Right, now we're coming back to Georgina, who we're talking about successes and disappointments. And Georgina has successfully managed to acquire a place at Cambridge through her expedition in December and through her very hard work with her A-star results. I know not everybody's got these results, Georgina, but what do you think about people who haven't? What would your advice be for them?
I think that the main thing is with these exams is we've been told over and over and again, but it really is. It's not the end of the world when you don't necessarily get what you wanted the first time. I know there was a lot of pressure this year for people getting into university, as I'm going to be one of. I am, and my class are going to be the last group to be able to go for the £3,000 tuition fees. So the pressure was on. But if you didn't get your results, then it isn't the end of the world. You can always retake the exams, and if that does mean you are going to have to pay triple fees, then you pay triple fees. But it's not like that money will stop you from going to university. It's still a loan. You still get loans. You still get to pay it back. And if you didn't do necessarily as well in the subjects that you took, maybe you could look at doing something else completely different, which I know several of my friends did. Last year when their AS results didn't go well, they decided that maybe the academic route wasn't for them and have gone on to do vocational courses that they're a lot better at and enjoying a lot more.
Yeah, and it can inspire you to just, I'm going to do something else, change my life, isn't it?
Yeah.
There is a project, if you've been listening to Your Voice Matters over the past couple of months, there is a project you can go to where you can help rescue dolphins in Portugal. I'll probably resurrect the interview I had with the wonderful lady, or try and get her in when she's in Brighton and not in Portugal. And that is an absolutely fascinating project where you don't even have to be swimming in order to rescue, because you can go there and help in other ways. And they're also holistic therapists as well, so it's actually going to be a very beautiful centre, I reckon. I reckon.
So horses and dolphins kind of are very calming kind of influence, aren't they? Can help people
Yes.
in a lot of ways, you know.
And talking about horses, I was sort of camping in the field at Bath Folk Festival with a horse. Not me and the horse. The horse was in an
his own
encampment
tent.
within. Yeah, it's like a big tent within the field. I thought the horse could have actually jumped over, but I don't really know much about horses. But I know that it was a lovely horse. But there's a guy called Ray Cohen, and if you've never heard of him, his name is Ray, and it's Coen, and he came from Sligo. There was a lot of Irish and Scottish musicians of very high calibre, but I would suspect with him, Ray Cohen, if you've never heard of him, go and listen to him. He's fantastic. He is a guitarist, but he's also sings, and he's also a flautist. And there's Eddie Boyd, who's really good, and Shamie O'Dowd, and Shamie's mum May was doing sort of Irish set dancing, so I did a bit of Irish set dancing. But I met a lady in my field for one night who didn't realise I was there and made lots of noise, and then apologised the next morning with a cup of tea. Thank you very much, April Anderson. And this is an album she's given me called Swings and Roundabouts, and this particular track is called I think it's Sleep Hill.
Oh, lovely.
Okay.
Sounds good.
But before we go on, I want to just talk, before we go and play that track, Georgina, how did you feel for all those months, sort of leading up, first of all, to your exam? I know that when I take an exam, my heart really beats, my mind goes blank. How did you feel?
I think I'd say that this exam season was possibly one of the toughest exam seasons I've been through, because you really felt like these exams mattered, because what you did on those days was determining whether you'd go to university or not. And they were also big exams, because was it like GCSE and stuff, so an exam an hour long seemed quite far. I think I had friends who were having exams that were upward to about 3 hours in length. So I did feel a lot more nervous in some ways, but then again I did also feel a lot more prepared, as I knew, because I had only about 5 exams that I had to revise for. I put in the hours revising for them, but still, I don't think I've ever sat down in an exam and felt 100% confident. And I think, especially my maths exams this year, I was very nervous about, as it seemed halfway through the year, my ability to do maths somewhat evaporated, and I was going from some of the papers I was getting A's in, and then the next paper I tried to do was an E. So my confidence was pretty mathematically shaken. And I think the worst exam, which now I've got my results, I can see was actually my best one, was my geography exam. As geography is what I wanted to do at university, that was the one that mattered the most to me. And when I opened it and saw the questions, and they were all on the things that I'd hoped they weren't going to be on, including one where my friend, about 2 hours before the exam, asked me, "Oh, Gina, do you think urban partnership schemes are going to come up?" And I was like, the odds of urban partnership schemes are coming up are so low. If I haven't learned them now, I'm never going to learn them. And there was a 10-mark question on urban partnership schemes. So I completely blagged that question, claiming making up an alliance between Brighton Hove Council and a nightclub conglomeration, and made some stuff up about re-urbanising Brighton, which obviously I got the marks for, even though I wasn't sure it was 100% true. But that exam definitely shook me, because I knew 99% of the stuff, and they went and asked me on the 1% I didn't.
Yes, I understand that, actually. I was going to say not re-ruralisation as opposed to re-urbanisation.
Oh, no. I love geography dearly, but there are some bits of it which I'd rather not go over.
Okay, the night before your results, how did you feel?
She went to the pub quiz.
Yes,
take your mind off of it.
I was feeling a bit nervous about it. I went through a lot of different feelings leading up to it, but I definitely didn't want to be sitting in at home dwelling on the prospect of having to go out. So I picked myself up and I went to the pub quiz with my friends, And we were like, well, if we're successful tonight, it doesn't matter about tomorrow. And it was actually
win £2.50 or something. It really
we would have won it.
It's good.
We would have won a tenner, but no, we actually did pretty well. We came second.
Which pub quiz did you go to?
It was the Toby Carvery in West Worthing we went to, and we got 25 out of 60, and the winners got 27. And to be fair, we did quite well because we were a group of teenagers and the winners were adults, and there's always questions on 60s to 80s music that we never know the
There's
answer
always
to.
pop music questions that teenagers know.
Yeah. No, it's always we do pretty well unless the question is anything to do with culture before 1992, because then we struggle somewhat.
But it's quite good there because they give you the leftover carvery.
Yeah, we get leftover
being the
carvery
food pusher
and
that I am.
leftover curry. So I filled myself up with that and then went home.
So get on down there, everyone, if you want to do this.
Then went home, sat I couldn't quite go to sleep, so put the radio on and sat on Wikipedia researching the University College London, which was going to be my backup, so that I didn't feel disappointed if that's what I got, and found out loads of interesting facts about it, including that it was the university that Gandhi went to. So I boosted the university UCL so much that, in fact, when I opened my results and realised I was going to Cambridge, I was a little bit disappointed because
you're not going to the same one that Gandhi did.
Yeah, but I bet you there's some real famous people that have gone to your college.
At
university. Sorry.
Yeah, I think at my actual college, because I'm going to be reading at Downing College. The famous people who've been there include John Cleese from
right.
Monty
Well,
Python.
you're in good company
then. Quentin Blake, who illustrated Roald Dahl books, but also Nick Griffin, the wonderful leader of the British National Party. So I hope I'm in John Cleese's old room and not Mr. Griffin. So
just remember your roots. Remember you came on Brighton Hove Community Radio when you get famous.
So,
and I hope it is John Cleese.
Yeah, John Cleese.
I really hope it is John Cleese. Okay, April Anderson, wonderful voice, and my thank you, April, for dedicating a song to me, one of your songs, when you were doing your set, and the reason why she dedicated it was because she didn't realise I was actually lying in a tent when she came with her friend, and they made lots of noises. And she was really shocked in the morning when she saw my face. So she decided to dedicate. A bit like Johnny Mitchell, I'd say.
Yeah, very like Johnny Mitchell. That's what I thought. Yeah.
So
sleep, did you get much?
Yes, eventually I did. I did the keeping myself awake until I couldn't stay awake, and then went out cold, and Mum had to roll me out of bed in the morning to get in the car to come to Basvic. So
excellent. Tell me how the colleges did locally.
They all did really good. I think it was another record-breaking year for A-levels. Basvic had a 98% pass rate, with 59% people getting top A stars to Bs, which would include me in that one. Barndine, Worthing College and Sussex Downs all did pretty well as well. I think all the colleges did above 97% passing, which is pretty high. And the independent schools also were doing really well. And I think, Brighton College broke a national A-level record, achieving the best results ever by a co-educational school in Britain. So we're full of a lot of smart people down here in Brighton, I think. And the girls' schools at Brighton Hove and Burgess Hill also did well, and Seaford College achieved a 100% pass rate. So, everyone did really well, and it was just a tough year for getting university places. So I hope that everyone who did do well got where they wanted to be. So.
Do you know anything about the apprentice schemes? Did they talk to you at all about apprentice schemes?
Apprentice schemes. I was up at the National Union of Student Conference in Liverpool earlier in the year, and they were definitely talking about how they're trying to make a lot more apprentice schemes in a wider range of jobs, because apprentice schemes, I know loads of my friends would love to be on an apprentice scheme, but the problem is there's just not that many around, and also some of them are quite limited in the areas of industry that they cover. But personally, I don't think I know anyone who's managed to get on an apprentice scheme, but there's definitely a lot of people who want to get involved in them, because they're opening up, the new government's trying to open up a lot more apprentice schemes outside of just traditional industries, or like mechanics and engineering, which they quite often have apprenticeships in, but also in like accounting and finance. They're trying to make more in. But yes, so I know quite a few who are trying to enter into apprenticeships, but I don't know if any of my friends were successful so far.
So you have to go on a website for that, don't you?
Yeah, I think it's quite. Some colleges are very good at getting people into apprenticeship schemes, I think, and but yes, it definitely seems to be just as hard as getting into a university, if not harder, getting these coveted apprenticeships slots. So.
Yeah, I tried to, but I'm too old. They took one look at me and said, well, I don't think you're appropriate for our age group. And I still want to be an apprentice. I feel like I'm a soul student, student of life. And I've been doing lots and lots of studying, and I still do. And I still will. You know, I study all my life. It's not... I do love academics. I think I always have loved academics. My mum said when she visited my boarding school, when everyone else was sitting watching Top of the Pops, "You were the only one studying, Susie." And I didn't tell her that I'd actually been out doing my duties, voluntary duties, and had to come up and catch up on my homework, and that's the reason why. And the persons who were on Top of the Pops were actually my favourite, so I was fine to study. But Jeff O'Toole used to be on there. Do you remember?
He's still going, isn't he?
He's doing a new, a whole new tour, isn't he, Jeff O'Toole?
Sure.
Back betwixt and between. And on this note, what I'd like to do is invite Umit in. Umit, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to take that mixing desk off and move a chair up, and then Georgina's going to swing that microphone around. While we're doing that, I just want to recap that you're listening to Your Voice Matters, and it's Brighton Hove Community Radio, and we have some wonderful presenters here, and we've got a good lineup coming up, so please keep tuned in. And you're listening to Jenny Ventris, who's our regular presenter, who's opened her goddess book.
Yes, yeah. Well,
so one quick goddess word.
Book. I love this one. Don't compromise yourself. You are all you got. Janis Joplin.
Fantastic. Well done, Janice. I knew you'd come up with it. And we've also had Georgina, who's going to Cambridge. Hooray! And you're going to do a polo exhibition. Expedition.
No, that was, I had the opportunity to do some nice trips. I was already looking at the Cambridge Society's list as soon as I got in, and I want to sign up for the Expedition Society and see where they send me off to, so that should be fun. So
right, you're going to have to keep an audio blog so that we can get you back on the programme, yeah? Even if you're in the North Pole.
Yeah, my friends were saying yesterday that I should do a blog or something. They go, "We just want to see you emotionally crumble at university." I was like, "Thanks, Sam. Really supportive." So.
You won't emotionally crumble. You've got that professor who's been to the North Pole, haven't you? So he'll sort you out. Just watch those polar bears, though, because is it Andy? What's his name?
Andy Ruck.
Andy Ruck. We wish him every success in his recovery. We know that he's getting better. Well done, Andy. And just keep an eye, Georgina, on those bears. Yes. Okay, we have Umit in the studio. Umit, we're talking about disappointment.
Well, you can never get rid of me, can you?
I love having Umit in the studio. Umit is from MERNET, which is the Mediterranean
Resources Network.
He always finishes it off for me because he knows I'll forget. I don't always forget, but I nearly did.
We are just doing teamwork.
Yes, absolutely. It's called duality, and that's what we are today. We're doing disappointments, successes, and you said you want to talk about something in between, maybe.
Yes, I think in between disappointment and success, there is dissatisfaction. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's my personal opinion. Somebody's dissatisfaction because of the unsatisfactory level of quenching their thirst for power and their greed, or whatever it is, becomes some other people's disappointment, and some people's achievements become some people's dissatisfaction. So it's like a pendulum with a third element in between. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I see it, really. That's my perception about it.
No, I think that was an interesting point, Umit. And how do you come to that kind of conclusion in your wisdom of worldly experience?
I don't know about wisdom, but it's my observations. I think one of the axis of evil that spins around the immortality of the conflicts, ongoing conflicts around the world, around the universe, is the dissatisfaction, which is maybe a kind of coating, a kind of, say, coating attempt to conceal the fear and insecurity. And the reason why people have compulsive shopping, why people have a burning desire to, say, rule another 40 years of their dictatorial rule in any given country. The reason why people are unhappy about their much envied, say, profession by others is because of the fear that they are not powerful enough. And there is still a kind of, say, a level of equality with at least one person, because people with this kind of, such kind of fear and insecurity, they don't want to become equal with anybody else on the universe. Having at least one, I don't know, millimeter, one tiny, say, a bit of, say, difference, superiority from other people, so that they won't run the risk of inferiority. Because for them, I think, the equality means ultimate risk of inferiority against these people. Sometimes we see funny examples of this. Two ladies fighting, saying, "Oh, how can you have my dress? I thought it was the only one, not a second copy in the world." So we can, you can reflect this example to other individual relations, to social settings, to industrial relations, to diplomatic relations, everywhere. Once people overcome the fear of equality, then we'll be, say, flooded with a sea of love, and we don't need to learn how to swim, because we learn as we swim.
Thank you very much, Umit. And Georgina, you have the last word, as you are the youngest in this room, and also have your life ahead of you, the amazing life, I can imagine. You've got something to say about disappointments, haven't you? But we're not going to end off on a negative note, obviously, at the end. But you do have something to say that's probably very important for us as well.
Oh, yeah, no, I was going to mention my disappointment was on the riots that we've been recently having, because I think I can speak for everyone when I can say it was shocking, if anything, that level of just carnage, and just, it seemed almost like pointless, like attacking on the wrong people for the wrong reasons. It was just, I felt very sad that was happening to anybody, and especially in our country. What really pointed out to me about how just sad it was my friend from Serbia was asking if I was okay and everything, and I said, no, it's fine, don't worry, where I am, there isn't anything going on. But he was asking me, what are their demands, what do they want, and all these kind of things. And I was like, I don't really know. It just seemed, it's very difficult to, there's no straight meaning, there doesn't seem to be a main target to it, and it just felt very sad. And what saddened me more than anything was it was people my age who were doing this. And it's as a teenager, we all often get grouped in together and stuff, and people were saying some very horrible things, I think, about like my generation, but it's a
minority.
People find it difficult to look at what some people are going through, because for the people who are doing their riots, there were some people who they are in really difficult situations, which of course doesn't condone the behaviour they're doing, but quite a lot of people, it did just show that although we are in one of the most developed countries in the world, that there are still lots of levels of people in our society. There are the haves, the have-nots, the people who've always had things their way, and people who have found that to them, they think the only way they can get out of their disappointing situation is to take from others, even if it's not even the people who've been taking from them. They weren't targeting things like the government or anything, they were just taken from local businesses, and it's really sad that that's led to the loss of life of people who were just defending their communities. And I think it was, I found that just as a disappointing thing, but in the same way, it's been really lovely to see how people and communities have come out of this as together, is not turning on each other and pointing the finger of blame, but coming together to try and sort out the problems together. But yeah.
Thank you very much for that word of wisdom. My quick disappointment was obviously the break-in for BHCR, and that actually coincided with the riot times, so there must have been a little bit of thinking there. But again, like you, what really surprised me from the break-in at BHCR and our laptops going, we have had so much rallying around in our own communities for support for us. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. So thank you very much. And this is my opportunity to say that. Thank you, our community, for the positive aspects of what has happened to us. Would you like?
Well, just on the same note as Georgina, actually, about the rioting would be my biggest disappointment, because I'm a promoter of teenagers. I love them. I've got two, and I think that
I had four.
And I think that there's a lot of good, very, very good young people out there, and I hope that nothing like this happens again. So.
Well, my thank you for Georgina, our guest, and Umit, our guest, for the words of wisdom. And I'm going to play you out with A Foreigner Forever by Roy McLeod. And you've been listening to Your Voice Matters. It's Brighton and Hove Community Radio. If you want to come onto the station, if you email us at studio@bhcr.org.uk, you could actually tell listeners during the show what you think. Or go to office@bhcr.org.uk if you want to volunteer and you're a manager, studio manager or fundraiser or programme maker with original ideas. So please, come and join us. Your voice does matter.